So
So
the
we're
beginning
recording
wasn't
now.
on? Okay. Start over again?
Yes. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Uh, this is about our journey in life, not just our sacred journey to the sites that we're going to in September. This is telling you how and why and who you are. And I hope that I can answer some of the questions that many of you may have been asking inside. When we are forming and getting ready to come into this realm, we attach to the etheric. We attach to our ancestors and what they have done and not done, what we have done in our past lives, and we come in with an itinerary. Included in that itinerary is your ultimate goal, who you are to be, that special, unique position that is for you and you alone. Mine might be totally different from if I had a twin sister, from my twin sister. It might be totally different or it might be very similar. It's choices that we make before we get here. Let me give you a little idea. We weren't recording in the beginning, but I was talking about 7 decades rather. It took for me to get comfortable with where I am. And as an elder, it's my duty to help people to advance. And I'm hoping that you don't take 7 decades to figure out what's good for you. So here I am talking about it. But a little bit of a story. I went in and out of every church door. I went in and out of every system because I questioned and I picked it apart and I wanted to find out what was going on. And I'd say around in my 20s, I started getting a vision. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I went on about my business, living my life, raising my children. And that vision came back. And I'd say 30, 40, I'm not sure. But then it started coming more quickly. And I saw basically the same vision. And this vision was talking about a past life. And nobody gave me a past life reading. I didn't have anyone to guide me or teach me. I was haphazardly searching, questioning. And when I looked at that vision and realized that I felt it, I recognized it, I knew it was mine. And I started focusing on it, writing down. And then I started investigating what about past lives? You know? But a past life that came to me was about what I'm doing right now, talking,
Wow.
counseling, healing. And what it was in a village setting. I'm not sure of what era, what time frame, but the clothing was certainly different. It wasn't in a building, it was out, and it was general people. I mean, the general population. Um, and it seemed like I had been there for a long time. As I got the dream over and over and over, this one time I was approached to come to another placing to do my counseling. I was offered a position, and the position afforded me, higher standards. I was going to really be, somebody. And I took it. I took it and I left the people. I left the people and went wherever it was. It seemed like it was quite fancy wherever it was. And that is something I've been dealing with for quite some time. That was my destiny. That was part of the karma that followed me in here. That karma led to my throat chakra being clouded, being less vibratory than it should be. It led to a lot of things, and I discovered these things. But like I said, no one was there to tell me, to counsel me. I'm going to ask each of you to ask yourself two questions. Number one, and I want you to know this question inside your heart, your true being. Are you completely satisfied with your life? Ask yourself that question. Think about it. Sleep on it. Might take you 2 weeks. Write it down. If you're journaling, it's fantastic. Write down your answers to it. The next question is, and this is going to take some real thinking. How important are you to the future? How important are you to your future? That's going to open up a whole can of worms, uh, because you might have a destiny that is going to lead you to a very prominent place, very prominent place. You may have a destiny that's going to put you in touch with someone who is going to be very prominent and perhaps change the world. You never know until you seek and search. Now, when going to a place like Medicine Wheel, Labyrinth, temples, and doing spiritual work, you need to activate something that's going to give you the information to help you move along. We've got the videos now, I mean, the Wi-Fi now. We can get online. You can hear Elder Yvonne speak. You can hear 50 people in the space of a day give you some information. I'm asking you to not take everything any of us say into your heart. Just, question it, look at it, listen to it. Does it feel right for you? Does it spark an interest for you? Because you have signs and symbols that come to you that lead you to your ultimate goal, your purpose. Now, in this realm where we live, this is a realm of free will. Okay? You don't have to fulfill your ultimate goal. You don't have to fulfill your destiny. But I ask if you are satisfied with your life, because if you're not, then your heart, your spirit is asking for something. And it's more than likely your destiny. More than likely your destiny. It can be extremely important. Well, I don't think I could be that important, you might say. Okay, I thought the same thing. And some people have told me, if you hadn't told me this, that, or the other, I never would have paid attention to this, that, or the other. It doesn't matter how you think. If it's to be for you, it's to be for you. If you're getting symbols and signs, if you're feeling the call, investigate, dig deep. Now, some of the things that will help us to recognize and prepare for walking on sacred ground, for getting in touch with the Akashic records, to finding out just what it is specifically that you need to know, is your energy. If your energy is out of whack, then you're going to receive something on sacred ground, of course, because it's sacred ground. But you may receive only 10% of what you could receive if your chakras were totally expanded and functioning in alignment one with the other. You'll get maybe 25% if you haven't reached out to who all of us have, which is our ancestors, which is very important, your guides, the archangels, all of the divine guiders or guidances that were given to us. If you don't reach out, they won't touch base with you for the most part. They may sometimes, but for the most part, they won't, because this is a realm of free will. Now, any of you wanting to ask questions, start, because the last time we waited to the last minute and we didn't get them all answered. And I'll try my best to answer. Walking on a medicine wheel or a labyrinth, or going to a sacred site, will activate the level that you can experience divinely. It will activate what you can experience divinely. I don't care how elevated you become, there's always more available. You can come closer and closer to the Most High each and every time you're on a site, at a site, doing some particular work. You'll continue to grow. Do you have any questions? Listen, when we come in, I think I said karma. We come in with karma. Okay, we come in with destiny. We come in with our zodiac energies. We come in with our gender energies. We come in with gifts. All of this is part of who is it, what is, leading us, what is causing us to do certain things. And if you're extremely busy and only give 10% to who it is that you are, it may take you those 7 decades to find out. It may take you those 7 decades to find out. Clearing, cleansing, asking for help is the best way to prepare yourself. You might say, well, yeah, I'll get to that later on. But the way this world is and the shifts that this universe is going through, we're needed now. So if you have something that is getting your attention, is pulling you to it, don't just leave it out there in the ethers. Dive into it, find out what it is, because you may be the person that walks up to a young lady or a young man and says or does something that will change their entire future. And their future may affect this whole planet. You never know. Never know.
So, you guys, if you have any questions about your sacred journey,
Mm-hmm.
you can put them in the chat or you can inbox me, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask Yvonne, because I don't think I don't think you can see the comments, right, Yvonne?
No, I can't.
Okay. So if anybody has questions, just send the questions to me and then I'll ask. Okay, somebody is asking, how do we know what our ultimate goal is?
You know internally, and getting in touch with that internal wisdom is how you find out. And you say, well, what the heck do I do? Ask. Reach out to your whoever is your guide. Being with your ancestors is extremely important, and there's no big ceremony for working with your ancestors. You can sit down in the evening and say, Grandpa Moses, look, I got something I want to know. I feel like I want to set up a garden. I gotta get my hands in the dirt. I gotta dig, and there's something that keeps pulling me to it. If there is something in your life that has gotten your attention, and then it gets your attention again, you keep feeling it. Investigate. Ask. Ask. If you are unsatisfied with where you're going, how you're going, what life is dealing you, there is something that is asking for your attention. And don't be afraid to do it, because it's available to you. And there are guides for you. Work with your chakras. Definitely work with your chakras. If they're out of alignment, if they're not vibrating in alignment one with the other, it's as though, a part of you is disconnected. Some people don't know about chakras, I would imagine, but it's just like an energy system. You plug in to the plug in the wall in order to turn on this light. That's exactly what you do with your body. Your chakras are there, each and every one of them, using or sending the energy for you to use that will connect you. But you don't need to necessarily deal with your chakras in order to ask your guardians. You've got guardians. You've got guardians, and you've got ancestors available. Snapping your finger, come or cry out if it's truly something that you're wanting and it's for a reason, and especially your ultimate goal. They'll come to you. They'll come to you and they'll answer you, and they may answer you in various ways. Signs and synchronicities. You know, that's the easiest, the first that you will get answers through. You know, you might see a billboard that answers the exact question you asked your guardian angel. And it may just say a word or two, and you're like, well, son of a gun, that's what I asked. Or you might get a knowing inside of you. Ask what your destiny is. There are, like I said, on this, the, what do you call it, the internet, you can get anything. you
Right.
know, but try to use your judgment, your feeling. That's why chakras are so important uh, for what someone tells you. If it doesn't feel right, back away. Go to someone else. Find some books. Seek it. Find it. Because it is important. And you may think, oh, there's a trillion people down here. What's little old me going to mean to the future of the world? You'd
Hmm.
be surprised.
And that's amazing how you say that. Be inquisitive,
Mhm.
follow your gut and things like that.
Mhm.
Because I remember having this inkling when we were on a road trip out west,
Mhm.
and I had an inkling. I'm like, I'm so close to Sedona. Something is calling me to Sedona, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm so glad I followed that inkling and I cut out time to take a little short day trip to Sedona.
Uh
And
huh.
I'm a firm believer that it's good to travel and it's good to do things that are kind of like out of your routine. Like you said,
Absolutely.
a book might be calling you, a place might be calling you, a person might be calling you. And it's good to follow that inkling.
It
And
is.
because it can be so beautiful
Mm, it
once
is.
you follow that inkling, follow your gut, it can be so beautiful. And it just opens up another, almost like another world.
It does. It does. But it sounds fantastic the way we're saying it. But when you step on your path with conviction, with your heart, your soul invested in it, there may be someone in your family, there may be a buddy that looks at you and you out of your mind and you have to back away. So there are some difficulties when you're first starting to dig deep and get the answers. Sometimes you may lose some friends because they don't believe as you're beginning to believe. Some family members, and that's usually where you get it from, your family
And
members.
that's the toughest
Whoa.
people to deal with that.
Uh, yes, yes. My daughter, when she was a teenager, our house had everybody came over. All the guys, all the girls would come to the house. And the one fella, and I called him Buffalo Butt. Anyway, Buffalo Butt told me, he said, Mom Hamilton, guess what? He says, you know what Judy told me? That's my daughter's name, Judy. She said, don't pay too much attention to my mother because she's kind of strange. And now they still look at me. I've got two that are still alive. Um, but they still look at me, oh, my son, maybe a little more than my daughter. My daughter will she just smile and look at me. They may not come along with you. So that's the only part that you may have to adjust to.
That is so true because, like me, most of my family are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine,
I can imagine.
and you were
Mhm.
with me when I broke the news to everybody.
Yeah,
Like, you weren't
yeah,
physically with me, but you guided
yeah,
me through it
yeah.
because I just got to the point where I was like, um, trying to avoid them knowing and seeing what I'm
Yeah,
doing and things like
yeah,
that. I just got
yeah.
tired of it.
Yes, yes.
And
It's
so,
difficult.
yeah, it's difficult.
It's difficult.
It's taxing. It takes a lot of
It is.
energy out of you.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, they don't have any problem sharing their
Uh-huh.
watchtowers with
Uh-huh.
me and, this and that. I said, so I'm just going to share with them, what I'm doing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I included in my statement, I said, if you have a problem, or it was something to the effect of, if you have a problem with it, don't tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about me behind my back.
That's pretty
you
good.
know,
Bravo, Citrin.
that's going to happen anyway, right?
Yeah, 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 definitely.
So
You
I'm
know,
just
I
like,
have
if you
a
have a
few.
problem with it, don't tell me about it because I feel good about what I'm doing. So you
Mhm.
can talk about me behind my back.
Uh-huh. I love it. But
Yeah.
if you don't allow yourself to be free, to be who you truly are, you're going to have some discomfort because of it. And depending upon who you were truly meant to be, it might be very uncomfortable
Mm.
because you are so important. What you're supposed to do is so important, you
Someone
know?
is asking a question.
Mm.
What is the difference in one's life purpose versus soul purpose? That's from Kim Potter.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, Kim.
I was hoping there wouldn't be any noise. I hope you're not hearing the sirens. If
Oh, I'm
so,
fine with it. I know you're outside. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Um, your goal purpose, that's your point of where you're starting from. Your life purpose is unfolding. Maybe that's confusing. You have a goal, but your life purpose is to live to the fullest, repairing, learning your lessons from all the karmic situations of your past life. That we all come in here with that. We come in, okay, I did this, and I didn't do, if I didn't finish it, I left my partner, or I stopped paying attention to guidance. That's your life purpose. But your ultimate goal is a part of who you are spiritually, your highest portion of you, who you came to be, that space, that that position that you're to fit in that is going to make the difference in this world. We may not all fulfill our purpose, our ultimate goal, but we will all live our life. Okay, and you may choose to be uh, a farmer and sharing crops and teaching, and that's wonderful, but that's not your ultimate goal. Your ultimate goal may be to use those herbs that you learn to grow to heal people and get them back to the natural way of living. That's what you came for. That was your ultimate goal. That may be your ultimate goal. But your life purpose, that's a different story. You're curing, clearing up, not curing. Oh, turn that off. You're clearing up your karma. You're adjusting to the way the world is. Oh, I didn't mean to have this thing on.
Oh, that's okay. I totally understand.
And it's nothing but
I
nothing.
totally understand.
I'm turning it off. There. Okay. Um, there's so much that we have to adjust to in this realm. And at one particular moment, you're moving forward, and then everything in its brother can come in and distract you, change your course, and close down everything. I walked away from my spiritual path for 13 years.
Mm.
13 years. I refuse. I refuse. I don't want to know anything. I'm not questioning anything. I don't go in the crystal stores. I'm not going to
What?
church. I'm nothing.
No crystals?
And nothing. Nothing. I mean, I put it aside because life came at me. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm moving on my path and all this crap comes in, you know, not only from the children's friends, but from my finances. Everything kind of crumbled. And I allowed it to get in the way. It was my distraction. It's my distraction. And I got kind of perturbed. I'm like, okay, y'all, I wasn't talking to the angels or the archangels, and I wasn't initiated at that time. No, no, I wasn't initiated at that time. But I could feel the energies continuing to, reach out. I'm like, no, leave me alone. Till I find the purpose, the truth, and understand it, I'm not coming back. And I meant it. I got kicked in the butt too.
Mm.
I got kicked,
Is that the
truly,
time where you were in the living room and you looked at something and
and saw them coming through the wall. The Africans, the
yes, I think it
Africans
was
woke me up.
something.
Yeah,
I love to hear
uh,
that story.
yeah. There were times that they were like, they kept beckoning me. Number one, when we make a step up, when we get closer to the pure and the divine, we're preparing for our ancestors because God recycles and brings us back in here. And when they come back in a lot lighter. So when your ancestors are tapping you on your noggin and saying, please, please pay attention. I didn't know that then. Nobody was teaching me. I didn't find that not too long ago is when I found out that the ancestors, when they are reborn, they don't come in with as they say in the Bible, the sins of the father visited on the son.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they mean. Because the blood that's flowing through your veins is a part of their blood. You're carrying that awareness, that understanding of what they may have contributed that was less than positive.
Mm.
So when you elevate yourself and clear the karma, you're allowing for them to come back in at an elevated state. So ancestors are extremely important. Extremely important. You know, you can bypass your ancestors like I did for 13 years. And I swear, I sometimes I'd be just, hanging out in the yard and, dating and having fun and traveling. And I'd look up and leave me alone.
Mm.
And I told him a couple of things that wasn't so nice too. Leave me alone. You're not going to tell me the truth. I don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone. Because
Mm-hmm.
things were going haphazard and it didn't make sense. But the higher you get, the bigger your profile is, the bigger target you are.
Mm.
And if you haven't learned to generate the positive energies, you get knocked off your path. And so I got knocked off my path a lot of times. But I'm also stubborn, you know. And when I felt like I saw something that made sense, I'm like, okay, if I see that again, I'm going to pay attention to it because it's beginning to make some sense. And I gradually started coming back in. But little did I know it was my guardians, the archangels
Mm-hmm.
saying, we're going to get it back in here. And I would see different things that were beginning to get my attention. That's the biggest thing, your attention, your spiritual attention. Your heart is in it. But 13 years, I was adamant. Leave me alone.
Somebody's asking, how do I know he's the right person? I don't know.
You don't ever know anything about another person. You
That was
don't
from
ever
Cynthia
know.
Lopez asking.
Cynthia, bless your heart. I understand why you're asking. You've got to use your intuition. You've got to use your connections to the divine. You've got to use all of your spiritual energies. And if you're on a spiritual path, they're going to protect you if he is not the right one. Okay. But you never know about another person because we all change. Someone could be at a very high point today, and tomorrow they'd be a negative pot of mush, you know?
Mr. Right Now.
hmm But test, use your intuition, ask. You'll know. You'll know. They'll stop you from being with him if you're connecting to the higher source. They're not going to let you. That's why it's very important, even if you never visit a sacred site, just living in this realm, it's important to connect to your divine source because that's the only way to, circumvent all the negative, all the distractions, all the things that will, oh, Lord, knock you back down a couple of steps. So ask, stay connected to your ancestors, especially.
Somebody is asking, how do I get my energy back in line?
Your energy it depends on who you are, for one thing. Some people have a lot of intuitive energy. Some people have a lot of fire energy. Some people have a lot of earth energy. The best way to make sure that you are doing what is right for you is working with Mama Gaia and the divine source. Those combinations give you your whole. Now, how do you do that? You can work on your chakras easily. Pull it up, find out about chakras, and actually, do a meditation. It might take you only 5 minutes, maybe in the morning before you leave out into the world and all that chaotic stuff is out there. And when you come back in, don't bring all that chaos into your house. You know, do your chakras again, keep your energy aligned. Okay, working with your root chakra, your connection to this realm, working with your sacral chakra, that's your productivity. Working with your solar plexus, that's your power force. These are things definitely that you have to have expanded and vibrating, at their optimum, whatever is your optimum. Because each of us has different levels that we vibrate at. But working with all of your chakras, from your feet on up to the crown of your head. That's how you can get your energy back. And it's good to do it twice a day when you go out and when you're coming back in. hmm
Somebody is asking how to reach out to my ancestors.
Reaching out to your ancestors. Some of us weren't fortunate enough to live with the different generations in our family. But if you know of your family, you knew there was an Aunt Sally, and you knew she liked to dance and tell jokes, and she was always in the kitchen cooking. Okay, that's Aunt Sally. If you knew Uncle Joe, and Uncle Joe was a thug, and he'd go upside of somebody's head and take all the money out their pocket, you don't want to call Uncle Joe. Okay? You need to think about who you know. And if you don't know your family, it doesn't matter. Simply reach out asking for my earth ancestors, my earth ancestors, and pray on it. Light a candle, put out a glass of water. I'm calling you. I need your help. They'll come. They'll come, but you've got to be serious. You don't have to do any special ritual. Always put out water. That's a the given. You always put out water, okay? And as soon as you finish talking, pour that water out, okay? But put out a glass of water. Can light a candle. You can smudge. You can be in the bathtub taking a bath, and all of a sudden you want to talk to one of your family members. Reach out, call in sincerity. They will come. It might take you a day or two to hear and get adjusted to what's being said to you, but they'll come. They'll come.
Oh, I'm missing some comments. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm missing comments. Oh, hi, Samba. Samba is on. Samba says he has a lot of earth energy. Lily says that she will be doing that every day now, and
Good,
she says
good.
thank you.
You're
I have to go
welcome.
back and see. I have some comments that I missed. Um, oh, somebody is Stephen Ford is asking, how do you find your guide?
This same way. Just ask. No one told me anything. There was no Wi-Fi at the time, and I felt kind of foolish when I first started because I didn't know that this is a way to do it. You, in your heart, in sincerity, ask, "Who are you? Who is my guardian angel?" Because each of us has one the minute we come in here.
Hmm.
Okay, that's the first place to start out. I can't tell you how many I have. In fact, I'm looking at a tree I just recently planted. Uh, and Nana Ishtar surfaced. I was desperate.
Oh,
Something was going on with one of my children, and Ishtar came in, and I heard Ishtar. I started channeling Ishtar over a period of weeks, and Ishtar has been with me ever since. There's a number of spiritual elevated the ascended masters, the angels, the archangels, the guardian angels call out.
wow, that is so. I've been with you and had some like magical supernatural experiences. And the other day, I was looking at my labradorite, and Nina, she saw uh Jibashi or somebody in the labradorite.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere I went in the room, I was seeing this image in my labradorite, and I was like, Spirit, if this is really this deity coming to me through this stone, I said, let me get
Mm-hmm.
another sign. I said,
Uh-huh.
so about an hour later, I was going to my car, and there's like a door between the house and the garage,
Mm-hmm.
why? And when I passed that area out the corner of my eye, I saw something black on the ground. And I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
is that? And so I turned around, it was a snake.
Uh-huh.
And I really think that was like another sign.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You've got to ask. You've got to look. You've got to stay vigilant. But you've got to really want something in order to manifest it like that. When you're getting started, you know, a lot of people, oh, I'm going to go call my ancestors right now. Hey, somebody come. And, you're just fooling around. No,
Hmm.
it, you call them for seriousness.
Somebody's asking, what's the best way to get this activated?
To get this activated, what's the this? If you're
Sacred journey.
speaking,
I think the sacred journey.
okay, to get your sacred journey activated is to simply say, okay, I know there's something that I want, there's something that I need, and there's more to what I know. I'm going to seek it. You know, I guess most of us have said our prayers before we go to bed at night. Get down on your knees. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord to mark my soul to keep. Just about everybody's heard that.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a real good purpose, and before you lay down to go to sleep at night, talk, talk out loud, and I mean talk in sincerity. Don't just say, "Well, Lord, I'm going to go to sleep. It was a good day, night." No, pour out your heart. To your best friend, you would say, "You know something, I went through something today." That's the same thing you do with reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to, if you've got a partner and you feel a little bit uncomfortable about being in front of your partner, well, heck, go in the bathroom, close the door, and turn on the water and talk. Sincerely talk. The greatest and the best way where I am right now, out here, I'll walk the medicine wheel and I will talk. And I might talk about anything, everything. My knee hurts. I'll tell them my knee hurts. I tell them everything. But then when
Yeah.
I really am requesting some help, and now, it's different than it used to be. When I was a lot younger and hadn't, really accepted spirituality, it would take me a month to get a symbol or a sign. Now
Mm-hmm.
it might take 2 hours. It
Wow.
might take 5 minutes. It depends on what it is. But it's the sincerity, the need, and the desire. You know, ask, reach out, just call.
Somebody is asking, would you suggest some special type of meditation or crystal?
A special type of meditation is working with Mama Gaia right now. That's a very special meditation for any and all of us. We're all the same, but we have our uniqueness, you know, and that is the one thing that's going to it covers everything. Working with Mama Gaia, she has hosted us ever since we started breathing. She gives us everything we need. Start with Mama Gaia. And if you can, this is a good time of year because it's warming up. You know, just sit her on her. Just sit on her. If you can find, I went on a trip this weekend, and the ladies up there were going to the river, and they had no idea why they were going to the river until all of a sudden they realized there's something about it. And when I spoke about who the river is in the African tradition, I shared with them something that I learned after I became a priestess. And the spirits gave it to me. Nobody in the Ile gave it to me. The trees that are straight, and I do mean straight, you know, you go to a straight tree and just stand up against it. Just stand up against it. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and breathe. Let the energy come up through your feet, giving thanks for every breath you have, because Mama Gaia is part of that as well. Thank that tree that you're leaning up against and ask for your guardians to tell you what specifically to do for you. The straight trees, I mean, there are some trees that are so straight, it's unbelievable that you could grow that straight. I look at some of them, but those are the ones that, they, what do you call it, transmit more directly.
Oh,
They
okay.
transmit more directly. There are some that do the healing. There are some that are just friends, but the straight trees, and if you can't find a tree, it doesn't matter. It
What's a
doesn't
great
matter.
tree for banishing?
Banishing, oh, um,
A twisted and turned tree, maybe.
yes, yes. And I was just going to talk about Florida.
A
When I
dead
was living
tree.
in Florida, they had the banyan trees, and you could go to that banyan tree and say, "Look here, this is not something I want in my life. I am writing this and I'm putting it at your roots. I want this to disappear
Mm-hmm.
and cover it with dirt."
Wow.
But that was that tree that I used. And I was just led to that, just
Mm-hmm.
felt like doing it. And it worked. It worked clearing
Wow.
up because I was out of place. I had to be in Florida, to take care of a family member. And some of the things that were happening to, property that I had, and, I was away from my family. Gotta get rid of this. This
Mm-hmm.
has got to change. It works.
And
It
it's
works.
so funny because I remember you telling me about you using a tree a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
And I was driving along one day. This was about maybe 4 months ago. And I'm driving along and I always notice the trees, you know?
Yeah.
And it's almost like the trees are talking to me. Some trees are saying, "Come to me if you want to banish something." Some other ones are
Hmm.
saying, "Come to me if you want to
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
bring prosperity." It is amazing.
Exactly.
And when they're
It,
saying that, I'm
yes.
hearing you too.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's how I found out. That's how I found out. Listening to them.
They really
Listening to
talk to you.
They
It
do
is
talk.
amazing.
Hmm. When I was going through some issues with my youngest son, I was sitting outside and he had to go inside and get some counseling or what have you. And I was just heartbroken because he just couldn't seem to get himself, oriented in this world. And I was sitting there and I guess I was asking, I wonder what kind of tree you are. And all of a sudden, I got the answer. I'm like, ooh. I did,
Wow.
and this was just a tree on the side of a road. I mean, it was not in a forest anywhere. And I talked with that tree the whole time my son was being counseled.
Oh, wow.
Mhm. It
Somebody is
spoke.
asking, "Am I on the right path?" Jay
If
Parker.
you, Jay Parker, if you have the least little bit of discomfort in your life, then you haven't found your true path. You may have found a portion of it, but sometimes we'll make a left turn when we're supposed to keep going straight. By that I mean, okay, if you're finding your path, you're to be, say, a musician, and you've got something that's in you that needs to be shared with the world. You may hook up with a partner, a manager, and that's not what is needed. You're supposed to do it on your own. So you make a left turn and go to this manager and let them handle your finances. And the next thing you're being distracted by some kind of discomfort. Uh, you know, you just, it's not easy, but it's not hard, especially once you get it started.
Somebody is saying, "I seem to have blocked myself and I'm finding it hard to get back to where I was." How do they get back to where?
You won't ever get back to where you were. That's sort of like saying, can I breathe for myself like I was breathing 10 minutes ago? You're not going to ever go back there. Your placement that you were might not have been fulfilled. Maybe there is a lesson that needed to be learned that's more important than where you were. Think about where you were and what you were doing. Think about what happened after that. Okay, something distracted you. Either you needed to go in a different direction, or either you were being bombarded by energies that's beneath you to stop you. Because believe it or not, people, we are in a war, the war of the righteous and the unrighteous, the dark and the light. You for lack of another way to explain it, the evil and the angelic. And there are those who come into our lives. And like one of the ladies asked, how do I know he is right? Uh, that person could be a shapeshifter. From 1 minute to the next, they can
Mm,
be 4 or 5 different people.
wow.
Some people are sent to undermine you. And if you have the least little bit of negativity or imbalance within you, it can be detrimental. It can take you off your path. So you're not going to retrace your steps. You're going to think about where you were. Pay attention to it. I mean, write it down and ask, pull it out where you were, what happened after you were there, and who is in your life. Was it a good person or not so good person? Reach out to your guardian and ask, is there something else I should have been doing that I wasn't doing, that I need to add to what I'm doing to get back to what I belong, where I belong, or that place that I was at when everything was going right. You know, you can also ask your guardian if there was something that was aimed at you that took you out of that position, because
And
sometimes
also
that
maybe acceptance. Isn't it
hmm
good to accept where you are, because that keeps depression at bay, it keeps anxiety at bay, because you don't want to have anxiety about where you feel you should be. You don't want to be depressed about where you were, that you're not there now.
yeah,
So it's so good to accept where you are now.
yes, there's always something we could feel better about, but you want to always be grateful for what you have.
Mm,
And anxiety or depression or anger, all those things are negative vibrations, and they will attract negative to negative. So
mm,
when, oh darn it, this is going on, that's going on, that's not such bad energy, but change it anyway. Bring it up. Oh darn, right now, what I would say, the sky is so absolutely perfectly blue, and I'm looking through the green leaves, and it's beautiful. Thank you, God. You can find something to be grateful for. Okay. My hands are not hurting right now. Thank you. That kind of thing. And I tell people, if you can't get in that place of feeling great, you know, think about a cartoon that you used to like. Think about a color that you love, you know. Or if you've got somebody in your family you like being around, somebody's baby, go play with that baby. Go play with the dog. Bring in the positive and hold on to it.
Excuse
Clear
me.
that negative out of you.
Dr. Swati is asking, I want to know, does meditation is meditation necessary for accessing Akashic records? And can anyone have ability to see the Akashic records?
That is something I'm just being introduced to, and I'm doing it the same way I've done everything else, on my own. And I met someone, well, I guess I must have activated something, because I met an Akashic reader this weekend when I went up there. But I don't think so. I took the route of simply allowing myself to be available to the Akashic records. I'm not an expertise when it comes to that, but what I got made sense. Okay, I wasn't doing a formal meditation to get to the Akashic records. I was simply allowing myself to elevate to that relaxed state. And there's all sorts of ways to do that, besides actually meditating and accessing the Akashic records. They're making it available to us now, wherein before it wasn't readily available to everyone, because we need to know what we need to know now. And when you get there, again, make sure you question, is that something that makes sense? Did I actually, you know, connect with the Akashic records? But do it and do it and do it until you're there. But meditation is not, I don't think, necessary.
Okay. And there was some other questions. I'm trying to find them. Millie says, that sounds nice. The bells sound nice.
Okay.
Um, oh, the birds. She was trying to sound, she says, the birds sound so beautiful. But there was
They're
another
asking,
question. Lisa is asking, does feeling unsatisfied with your current purpose, is that a sign that you haven't reached your purpose?
that's a sign that you have not fulfilled it.
Mm,
You may have reached a step toward your purpose. If you're dissatisfied, there's something else that your spirit is calling for. Any dissatisfaction in what you're doing is your inner child, your higher spirit, your consciousness is guiding you. Saying, no, you haven't finished yet. You haven't finished yet. That's the dissatisfied voice.
Wow. Um, Somebody is asking, how do you integrate all of the different parts of your lives? Because I know you mentioned earlier, you come in with the zodiac, you come in with maybe some people have the veil, some, like how do you integrate all of the different parts of your life, all of the different parts of like your gifts and things like that?
Very gently. uh, Everything that is you is to be used, but you're going to figure out what it is that you want to incorporate, say 5% of, working with my hands and making the jewelry, and maybe 10% of going out on the medicine wheel and chanting, something that's important to me, that means something to me. And then you love to do hair. You are a magician when it comes to styling hair and you love it. That's a gift, and that might take up, 50% of your daytime. You just do it very gently. Make sure that you're appropriating what is most important, the time to that. What is most important? What fulfills you? What has a purpose that you see? Sometimes we have to eliminate some things and put them in the background.
Mm,
hmm hmm You can get very busy. You can get very busy. If you've got, multiple gifts. Your ancestors may have been healers, and they may have been dancers, and they may have been teachers, and they may have been this, that, and the other, and that's all flowing through you, and all of it you love. You can't do all of it. You've got to do what's most important to satisfy your spirit, okay? And you can incorporate a lot, but not too much. In fact, spirit will stop you if you do too much.
mm.
Yeah.
Jay Parker says, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Like I said, you can inbox me or you can put your questions in the comments. If you have any questions for Elder Yvonne, we're talking about sacred journeys.
Yes. Let's get back to that the medicine wheel trip.
Okay.
Okay? Uh, Say there's 50 of us gathered right now. Okay, and I have two more things I really want to accomplish, and another person. I'm just going to go and see where it leads me because I'm not quite sure what I want. And then you've got somebody else that's, they woke me up a couple of times and I've got to connect with a divine source. Every person that steps on that sacred site is going to get something different. Okay. If a person hasn't done too much of anything spiritually, just questioning and looking and, kind of haphazardly checking in and out, they will get on any one of those sites, a sacred site, and they will have something, some type of energy will be born within them. And they may not know it, they may not feel it until they will, gosh, I never thought about doing that. And they never paid attention to the fact that it was something that was initiated once they walked the sacred grounds.
Wow.
Yeah, so
So the
the
sacred
reason,
grounds can initiate things, can things can be activated within you at the sacred sites.
absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. And as well, I had a dream once upon a time to do something. In Florida, I knew of a lot of places where horrific things had happened to my race. And, well, I'll give you the whole story. It was in the 40s, and there was a hurricane that came through, and it tore up the place that I was living in. And, a lot of people died. Thousands of people died in that hurricane, and they took all of my race and put them, just mounds of bodies on top of bodies on top of bodies,
Mm.
and just covered them up with dirt. And then they built a cesspool over top of them.
Oh my goodness.
And when I found out about it, it was like in the '60s, and I was wondering, why is this street always got so many problems? There's always shootings. There's always fightings. Everybody's killing everybody. So I decided, yes, that energy is left over from all of those people piled upon one another, disgracefully, you know, just cast aside. It didn't happen that way over across the tracks, so it didn't have to happen that way with us. And I thought, I'm going to visit. I knew of a lot of places that, where some terrible things had happened. I want to go and I want to, change the energy. I
Mm.
want to give offerings and prayers, and bless the energy so that anything that is captured in a place can be released.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were places where there were certain spots in Alligator Alley down there where people just kept having accidents, and it was almost like the Bermuda Triangle. You just don't go through there at a particular time, and don't go this way because there's something about it. People are just, it keeps happening. That's negative energy left. It's similar to sacred sites. Just like
Mm.
the sacred sites hold the higher energies, those types of places hold the negative energies. And I wanted to write a book. In fact, I've got all the papers where I started looking for different places. And I was just going to get in the car and start going.
Uh,
Of course, I never did. I still would like to do it though, I think. Maybe one day.
Where we is what I have to do.
If there is anyone that feels something that I felt when before I started clearing my energy because of my race, I had problems with any discrimination. And if it were portrayed in a story, as soon as I saw that story, I would change my energy, and my energy would change into the anger and the fight that I would have expressed had I been actually part of the situation that was in the movie. If there's anyone that sees a story, if it's not just race related, if it's not just gender related, if it's something that causes you to really change your energy, clear that, clear that. I don't know why that came up. Uh, I suppose thinking about the sites that I wanted to clear and cleanse. But it can happen just by watching a movie and you see this horrific situation occur and you hold it inside. You hold it inside and become angry. I have walked outside of a movie theater, and this is a long time ago, and I had to stay away from the other races because I didn't have a very nice disposition because of what I saw in the theater. So anything that causes you to change your energy, be careful of it because it goes inside. I had to do a lot of clearing for things that I knew about. B, if you don't get out of my face, um,
Mm-hmm.
things that happened to my ancestors. I had to clear. I had to clear and cleanse it. You know.
Okay.
Mhm. I was telling them that if a long time ago, I had feelings because of
Mm-hmm.
what had happened, and it's not good. It goes in there, and if you don't clear it, especially if it causes you some of the energies like hate, like, I can't even express the type of energies that flowed through me in the very beginning. And I didn't know about clearing and cleansing energies. And I've never been, looked at another race and just didn't like them because of their race. But right after watching pictures and things that, had the segregation and the terrorism and all of this in it, I'd have to stay away from them because I was too angry.
Hmm.
So that meant I carried that stuff with me. That's not good. That's not good. Be
So,
careful of that.
so like, okay, so sacred sites,
Hmm.
it's like good energy. But like, what about places like, I'm not sure if you can hear they're cutting the grass. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay. What about places where they have built highways over Indian burial grounds? Like, how do you protect yourself on that? Like, as you're driving, I guess you just have to pray and say, um, give an offering
When
through some.
when I set out outside of my house, which I keep as a sanctuary, because I'm always praying it. Stuff can creep in anyway. But when I step outside the door, I open up to the divine source and guidance and protection. You know, when you get on the road to go somewhere, if you know there's a dangerous place, you can get the protection that, you know, keeps you from having a problem, from having to experience anything because you're elevating your energy. That's why it's so important to be careful of your energy. Samba and Reiki. I thought about him not too long ago. Reiki is fantastic. You can find someone to do Reiki, sound healing, you know, the
Hmm.
solfeggio, hertz,
Hmm.
you know, anything, everything. Keep your energy elevated, because you can be attacked, and I don't mean some ghoul is going to come out of the woodworks, although it's possible, I suppose it could, but you attract that energy, and you wonder why you're so out of sorts, and you keep attracting some more energy. You wonder why you have headaches all the time. And then you keep attracting more energy. You take it into the house. You've got children, and you see your daughter acting differently. That
Hmm.
energy is negative energy, and it loves negative energy, and it wants to build, and it wants to control more and more and more and more. So, going on a highway that is specifically known to cause problems, you keep your energy up. Keep your energy up.
Okay, if anybody has a particular question, or if you want to come on camera and ask your question personally to Elder Yvonne, let me know. I can put the link in the comments. But if you have any questions, put them in the comments or you can inbox me.
Yeah.
But one question I have is about, and I know we've talked about this before,
Mhm.
because you were with me when I went on my first medicine wheel. And one question I had was about bringing cell phones into the medicine wheel or, a sacred site like that.
Mhm. I don't think that it can cause a problem. I don't think that it can cause a problem. But the respect is not there.
Mm,
Cell phones and all this new stuff we've got, this laptop. I would no more take this laptop and go out on the medicine wheel than man and moon. In fact, I actually, when I pin my hair up with pin curls in there, it's metal. Before I go into my spiritual room, this is all right. I'm like, no, I'm not going in there like that. It's the respect.
mm,
It's the respect. Hmm. Now there are negative vibrations in cell phones and laptops, the TVs and all, uh, but it's not going to interfere to the point. I don't believe is a possibility, but I don't believe it's the respect that is important.
okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't see, let me see, I don't see any more questions. I'm just trying to make sure because I there was a lot of questions that I missed earlier because I wasn't seeing them. So I'm just double checking.
But for anyone out there who is trying to figure out, what they're going to do from here on your sacred journey, question. Look into your heart, look into your spirit, and question. Reach out to your guardians, reach out to your ancestors, and question. And for God's sakes, keep your energy positive. But something will just come along and like, oh, there's a hole, I can jump in it. That's the way negative energy does. It just, oh, it was, oh, what's his name? Doggone it. It was a movie that, he was walking and this spirit that was on him would jump off if he just touched another person.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
basically the way negative energy is.
You don't want to catch it.
Nope, nope, no. But it attracts negative energy, attracts negative energy.
And so
Hmm.
visiting a sacred site is something that's really awesome to do along your sacred journey because, like
Yeah.
Elder Yvonne says, it opens up a portal for initiation. You might be initiated into something that you are not consciously aware of, right? Is that right? Because a lot of times when
Right.
we get downloads, we don't, you might get a download today that you might not um, realize until months or years later.
Mhm.
Can you talk
Yes.
about that? How things, how you receive information, visiting
Hmm.
these sacred sites can bring you information that you will use later on?
Hmm. Depends on where you are. If you are ready for it and it's needed, on your path, it will unfold so that you can experience it. But going on a sacred site it's going to give you something. Depending upon what level you're at, it's going to give you something that is for you. When I say my prayers, I ask for my highest good for me at this point in time. Because one time I did get something a little bit too much for me, and I stopped. Whoa, whoa, wait, 1 minute. That's a little bit too much, and I let it go.
Mm.
Didn't want it. Hmm. But if it waits for a while, that means you weren't supposed to use it for a while. And if it's for you, it's going to, get your attention again. It will definitely get your attention again. Hmm.
Lily says thank you. She's going to watch the replay. She has to go, but she says thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And
You're
Dana Powell
welcome.
is asking, how do you heal past lives?
Oh, past lives. I did a healing on several of the things that I recognized. I'm sure there's still other things that, maybe they were trivial and I don't have to do anything to them or something. I don't know. But some of the things, like the heavy one that I began talking about at the beginning of the video, walking away from the general people in this particular setting, this village or whatever it was, I realized now if if you really want to heal it, you ask your guides to help you without giving you a horrendous experience, so that you relive it. Because that one I relived. I relived everything that the people felt when I walked away.
Mm,
In fact, some of the people that kicked my rear end in this life were people from then in that life. But understanding that, oh, I must have really caused some harm, to those who were absolutely counting on my counsel. Because before we had TVs and all that kind of stuff and lived in villages, we would have gatherings and meetings to look at, what was going on in every person's life and keep the community together. That's the way it was. And to walk away from them and leave them without anyone, I can imagine what they went through. So I started internalizing what it felt like for me to leave them, people that counted on me. And the absolutely released it.
Oh wait,
And
you're frozen.
in this
Oh wait, you're
life,
freezing up.
I care less about me. It's nice, but the way I was in that particular life, I'm like, whoa, I'm going to have status, I have anything I want because I'm going to counsel the royalty. That position's going to afford me something I don't have right now. So healing, it depends on your heart, your feeling, what you recognize, and what you learn from it. That's how you heal it.
Wow,
If yeah,
I like that answer.
it's it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. I had to learn the yeah, I had to learn the way because I just asked for it. But I
Dana,
came in here with that. I came in here with that.
wow.
You're
Dana
you're
says,
freezing.
"Oh, sorry. Yeah, you were freezing too. I was. It
Yeah.
must be about to go out. I don't know."
Oh.
But Dana says this happened
Oh.
today. I was crying so hard, and I felt like it was my own. She says, "Thank you for your advice."
Uh, you're very welcome, and thank God for it because that's something that you don't have to re-experience. That's something you don't have to re-experience. You experienced it all the way to the cleansing with the tears, because that's what tears are. It's a source of cleansing, and when you cleanse it, we've got a very loving Creator. You really are sorry. You really forgive yourself too. That's another thing. Forgive yourself for that you recognize that was a problem. That is another way of working through a karmic issue. Forgive yourself. And if it was someone that you had a battle with, you forgive them. You know. But in my instance, you know, I was the only one at fault. I was the one that walked away. So I had to forgive myself, but I had to feel what those people might have felt, and the people that I've met in this life that were not so nice to me. And when I recognized, oh, I know who that person. Oh my God.
Mm,
Oh, that's why they did that to me. And I couldn't have any animosity. I couldn't, want revenge for what happened. I had to forgive me. I had to forgive me because I caused that. And I never really had to forgive the other person because it was love that came out of me to that other person. What I did to them before, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have hurt you like that. Your sincerity, your heart, your spirit can blend out karma. Doesn't You don't have to learn it the hard way. And that is the thing that is helping the ancestors.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All tied together. All tied together. So, walking on those sites, if you're choosing to go on that trip, pay attention to yourself now. And by the time September gets here, you will have identified what it is that you want to know, what it is that you're hoping for from the site. I'm anxious to get to the grandmother temple.
Oh, it
I'm
is
anxious.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I'm anxious to get to that.
It is a
Yeah.
really nice site. And, if you are watching and you're planning on coming with us, just going ahead and do it because you will not regret it. You will not regret it. Like I said, we're visiting a sacred site. Um, there are so many different temples there. So there's a temple for everything that you're trying to work through. You know, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
these temples, he had them built with loads and loads and tons of crystals. Like there's a
Wow.
temple of Avalon, he built it with black obsidian and onyx, I want to say. It is
Wow.
beautiful. I mean, even
Yikes.
if you're not going, if you don't want to go because you are advancing on your sacred journey, if you are a crystal lover, like you will love this site. I mean, he uses a lot of black obsidian, rose quartz, onyx, um, just so many different types, quartz. I mean, it is
Wow.
amazing,
Wow.
you know.
Wow.
So the energy, because crystals have amazing energy. So just imagine walking through a temple that's made out of black
Whoa.
obsidian,
Good
walking through a
grief.
temple that is loaded with rose quartz.
My goodness.
I mean, he has so many different types of temples. It is amazing, you know. And like I said, we're going to be doing energy healing there as well. Energy healing. And we will also be drinking plant elixir,
Yeah.
cacao. And cacao helps to open the heart chakra,
Wow.
the heart. And it is physically good for you also. It physically helps the heart.
Wow.
But anyways, we're going to be opening the heart center, which is going to help you to receive what the universe is trying to download to you. So you can visit my website, metaphysicalmoonlighters.com, if you want to book your space. And even though it is on over 20 acres, um, he likes to keep it at maybe like 10 people at a time. And I think we're at like 5 people now. Yeah, we're at like 5 people, 6 people now. So we still have a few spots. If you are interested, go ahead and book your spot right now. But yeah, it's going to be an amazing, amazing trip.
Do we have a couple more minutes?
Yes.
Something that's coming to me, and it was while you were speaking about the different temples. Uh, each and every one of us has a lot of different tribes running through our blood. We don't just, just because of the persuasion here, doesn't mean it's just African. You know, link up with all of your background. That's spirit talking. That's not me because I was listening to you and it was coming through. Identify your different races flowing through you. Those are going to activate as well and pull them in. And I've done that. I couldn't help but do it because all of a sudden I was attracted to Ganesh. And I'm like, what the heck? Why would I? Okay. And my mother had a lot of Asian in the house statues and stuff.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden this one came. When you go on a sacred site, uh, all of those races are there. All of those races are there. Um, and not just on a sacred site. When you're moving along your path, use all of your races. All of your races. That was coming through my ear while you were talking.
Wow, I love that.
Mhm.
So if you are drawn to Ganesha or you are drawn to uh, who is a African deity?
Yeah. Oh, Yemaya.
Yemanya. If you're
Yeah.
drawn to Yemanya or Ganesh or
Mhm.
whoever, it's all running through our blood. I mean, we're all
Yeah.
connected, you
Yeah.
know. So if you are of one race, don't feel like you have to stick with only your race,
Mm-hmm.
because in
Mm-hmm.
actuality, I mean, there's the DNA test we could do and find out what's running through our blood. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are drawn, because sometimes on a
Yeah.
spiritual level, maybe it might not show up in a
Mm-hmm.
test.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
your heart will tell you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you might be
Mm-hmm.
like attracted to some Japanese deity or something.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. You
And
might have a Japanese warrior
that
in your
might be the
ancestral
spirit that's
line.
yeah, and that might be the spirit that's coming through and needing access for whatever reason you don't know. Pay attention to your lineage. Hmm.
That is awesome.
Hmm.
So yeah, did you want to talk about anything else? We've been on. Let's see how long we've been on. Oh, an hour and a half.
Oh, this is not the Google one, huh?
Hmm?
This is not the
Yeah, it
Google.
is. I'm surprised they
Oh,
haven't like said, "Oh, your time is running out."
oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Hmm.
Maybe they were listening too. I hope.
Right. They're like, "Wait, this is good. We don't want to cut this off."
Yeah.
But my phone is acting up. I keep trying to see the comments and I can't see the comments.
Huh.
Okay. And Lisa White Whitfield, she says, plus our souls have different races,
Mm-hmm.
past lives. Samba says the movie we were looking for was Fallen with Denzel
Yes.
Washington.
Yes, that's the one. And I couldn't call Denzel Washington to save my life, but that's pretty much the way it acts. It just
Uh-huh.
jumps off from person to person. Hmm. But if you've got a warrior back there and you haven't accessed him, you're missing out on a blessing because when they fight for you, man, you don't have to. Yeah, and some it could be a Native American, chief or something.
Uh-huh.
Um, you've got him right at your side. In fact, a couple of times when I finally started going to the Babalaos to get readings and stuff to find out who the heck I was, they're like, wow, you got one big spirit with you. And I had several of them say that. I had no idea until I started, searching, the African lineage.
Hmm.
Whoever he is, he kept me out of a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, that's good.
Hmm. Yes. So it's good to find out who you are and, you know, look into it and let them come through.
And don't let
Mhm.
it pass by. Like if if you don't understand why for some reason you're drawn to everything related to Egypt or everything related
Mhm.
to China, or everything related to um Ireland,
Mhm.
look into it. That's what you're saying, right?
Mhm. Yes,
Look into it.
absolutely. You saw my spiritual room. I've got a pyramid in there. Uh,
Beautiful.
uh, yeah, and I've got some statues from Africa, some statues from India, some statues,
Don't you have
everything.
Kali? What's the big one? The
Uh-huh.
one that Tammy was so she just loved.
Shiva,
Shiva. I
Shiva,
mean, she was
Shiva's the
so
big one.
beautiful. It is
Yeah,
amazing, and
yeah,
the energy in there was
yeah.
just amazing.
As I got introduced to them,
Kuan
you know,
Yin, that's the one that
oh,
Tammy.
oh, Kuan
Tammy
Yin.
is in love with your
Wow.
Kuan Yin
Oh, the
statue.
Kuan Yin is fantastic. Fantastic energy. I thought Yemen Ya in the African tradition was gentle and nurturing and giving and loving. Kuan Yin excels beyond that.
Wow.
She excels beyond that. She has more tolerance and patience for someone like me. I'm looking at this bird. Why is sitting up on top of the bird eater?
Uh huh.
I'm not feeding you, not now.
I guess he's
Sit
like,
near
"Where's
her.
my food?"
Yeah, not now. But yeah, so pay attention to your blood flowing through.
And also, one thing you told me a couple of years ago, you were like, if something is not calling to you, don't go to it. Don't force it. So like just
Please.
because you are like a lot of people are into like Obatala and things like that. But one thing, one advice that you gave me was if it's not calling to you, leave it alone.
That's right.
Just
I
because
don't care.
everybody is doing it, all
Yeah,
your friends might
no.
be doing it. If it's not calling to you, don't be afraid to drop it. Leave it.
Yeah, you just leave it. Leave it. Your ancestors are usually what called you to whatever is a particular avenue. such as the African tradition or the Asian tradition. It's your ancestors. And why? Because one of them might have been a high priestess, okay, and her gifts are to be shared with you. And so it's important for her to get through to you. But if you go pulling, say, oh, Batala, oh, Batala loves you just as much as he loves anybody else. But you need to give your attention to what it is that flows through you because that's your natural gift. That's your natural gift. A lot of people, came to the classes that I was giving and what have you, and found out that I was a priestess. And oh, I want to know this, I want to know that. Well, two people were a no-no. Two people were a no-no, and I'm like, if you want to, you can get online and find out about it. But I'm not going to coach you. One of the people that came to the classes, and what it was 5 years of talking with her. She's finally on her own now. Uh, but she dug into it because she was supposed to be there. Yeah, yeah. Don't force anything. Yeah, you can't really give reverence when you force something. You know,
Right.
the reverence comes through your heart, through your, you know. They think I'm gonna feed them. No, 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 no. No.
Hi, Hayes. So if anybody else, does anyone else have any other questions for Elder Yvonne related to Sacred Journey? I just hope I'm not missing comments because my internet is acting up.
If we've
Lisa
only got
says
a
that
little
bird
bit.
sounds awesome.
Usually I have, well, Sunday is the day that I feed them, and they pretty well know, when I'm going to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some in the yard now, but not like when the day to feed them comes. Man, and some of them sing. There's one I have yet to see the bird because it sings so different from the rest of the birds,
Oh,
and I haven't
wow.
been able to see it yet. It's almost like it has a regular song, and then there's a then there's another one. I don't know whether he's playing with me or whether he's trying to figure out whether I'm a bird or not. But his whistle, I whistle, and he'll do it again, and I'll whistle again, and he just keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. And then when I stop, he'll whistle something else. I'm like, okay, let me see if I can whistle this, and I'll whistle that, and then he'll stop for a while, and then he'll start whistling. I'm not quite sure whether it's me or it's him.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would like to do, before we close, if we don't have much time, um, is I would like to offer a prayer uh, to the ancestors that are in attendance today, because where the children of these ancestors are, that's where they are. I greet and give honor to each and every ancestor who is sitting aside their child. I ask that you help them to understand that all they have to do is reach out and call. May their steps be peaceful. May their heart be filled with joy. May everything that they do turn into the gifts that we're given, that we are entitled to. May we walk in peace. May we walk in love. May this be ours forever. And it is so. Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen.
Amen.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
One
welcome.
question. Lisa has a question. She's saying,
Sure.
are Simbi water spirits evil? She says, I had one with me. Guide? Is it a guide?
What kind of water spirit?
Simbi, Simbi. Never heard of it.
I haven't the faintest idea.
Yeah,
I
I'll
do
look.
know that there are water spirits that are dangerous, that are less than positive, uh, but I don't know of a Cindy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
So, Lisa, yes, there are water spirits, and there are some that you should stay away from, right?
Mhm.
Um, some that you can use,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know, Cindy.
Cindy, I don't know. I don't remember hearing of a Cindy.
And then you never know. Sometimes it could be like a spelling error, or maybe how with the
Uh,
internet, if you type
yeah,
something and you press send, maybe it was a different spelling or something.
I
Oh,
was trying to think.
oh, you're welcome, Jay. Jay is saying thank you again.
Oh, surely, surely, surely. I thought I turned the dead one thing off. Cool. Um, what I was going to say is to reach out to an animal guide to
Hmm.
ask, because there are spirits that are over the animals. There are spirits that are over the forest. There are spirits over the water. Reach out to a spirit to find out about Simbi. That's my best advice, because I don't know. Prolamaic is the only, and that's an animal or nature spirit. I use Prolamaic if one of the animals is hurt and I get all bent out of shape. Prolamaic, please do something. I can't do anything. Or if something, we have coyotes in the area to keep them at bay so my cats don't get, uh,
Hmm.
use a spirit to find out about a Simbi.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Well, I
Hmm.
want to thank you so much for this session today. I really
I've enjoyed
appreciate
it.
you. And maybe we can do another one another day on something, another topic.
Sure, I've enjoyed it. I'm glad all of you came. It's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure.
And we hope that you will join us, all of you who are watching. We hope you will join us in September in New
Oh yeah.
Mexico.
Oh yes.
It's going to be amazing. And we're
Yeah.
visiting, don't forget, we're visiting that mineral spa, the hot springs.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
water that comes up
Oh,
naturally hot from the earth.
oh,
Okay? And these
that's
are
healing.
healing waters.
That's healing.
Some of
Yeah.
them have iron, some of them have soda. I mean, just different minerals. And all of
Wow.
the minerals are healing minerals that is
It's
coming up
fantastic.
naturally
Mm-hmm.
from the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be
Mm-hmm.
there when we visit.
Yeah. That's good. That's going to be
In
special
Mexico.
in itself.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again so much, Elder Yvonne.
You're
We
very
appreciate you.
welcome anytime.
And
Blessings to all.
blessings to all. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Okay, so call. Okay, and uh-oh. You know what? I think I'm still alive.